Lily sat by the window, watching the world outside. She wished she could speak English like the people she saw on TV. But how could she learn when she had no one to talk to? Welcome to the Fluent Storybook. Here, we help you improve your English through storytelling. If you want to speak English fluently, even from home, keep watching. Lily sat on her bed, holding her phone. She scrolled through videos, watching people speak in English so easily. They laughed, talked fast, and used words she didn't understand. She sighed. I wish I could speak like that, she thought. Lily had learned English in school, but speaking was difficult for her. She always worried about making mistakes. Whenever she tried to talk, the words got stuck in her throat. She felt shy and nervous. How can I practice English if I don't have anyone to talk to, she wondered. One evening, while watching a video, Lily had an idea. The speaker in the video said, "You don't need to go to an English-speaking country to learn English. You can create an English world inside your home." Lily's eyes widened. An English world at home? She repeated to herself. She grabbed a notebook and started writing ideas. How could she make her home a place where she could learn and practice English every day? She made a list. 1. Change my phone settings to English. 2. Watch TV shows and movies in English. 3. Label things around my house in English. 4. Listen to English music and repeat the lyrics. 5. Read books and signs in English. She smiled. I'll start tomorrow, she whispered. The next morning, the first thing Lily did was pick up her phone. She opened the settings and found the language option. She hesitated for a second. What if I don't understand anything, she thought. But then she took a deep breath and changed it to English. Suddenly, everything looked different. The words on her screen were all in English. Instead of gallery, it said photos. Instead of messages, it said texts. Instead of clock, it said alarm. At first, she felt confused, but soon, she started understanding the words. Every time she didn't know something, she searched for the meaning. After a few days, she realized she was reading English on her phone without even thinking about it. Wow, I'm already learning new words, she said, feeling proud. Lily's next step was to watch her favorite shows in English. She usually watched with subtitles in her native language, but now she decided to change them to English. She started with cartoons. They were easy to understand because the characters spoke slowly. When she heard a new word, she repeated it. One day, she watched a movie where a girl said, "That's amazing." Lily didn't know what it meant, so she looked it up. It means really good or wonderful, she read. The next day, she used the word when talking to her little brother. Your drawing is amazing, she told him. He smiled, and so did Lily. She was starting to use English in real life. After a few days, Lily decided to label things around her house. She took small pieces of paper and wrote English words on them. She stuck a note on the refrigerator that said, fridge. She put another one on the mirror that said, mirror. The door, the chair, the table, everything had a label. Whenever she walked around the house, she read the words out loud. I'm opening the fridge. I see myself in the mirror. I'm sitting on the chair. At first, it felt silly, but soon she got used to it. The words became natural to her. She didn't have to think before saying them. She was not just learning English, she was living in English. One afternoon, Lily was listening to music on her phone. She heard a song where the singer said, "Don't be afraid to try." She liked the line, so she played it again. She repeated the words softly. Don't be afraid to try. Then, she said it louder. She sang along with the singer. Wow, I'm practicing speaking without even realizing it, she thought. From that day, she listened to more English songs. She picked easy songs with clear words. She wrote down the lyrics and tried to sing along. It was fun, and she didn't feel nervous. It was just her and the music. Lily also started reading more in English. She picked up simple books from the library. At first, she read slowly, translating words in her head. But over time, she understood more. She also read signs on the street. When she walked past a store, she read the name, supermarket, bakery, pharmacy. She whispered the words to herself. One day, she saw a sign that said caution. Wet floor. She didn't know what caution meant, so she searched for the meaning. It means be careful, she learned. A few days later, her little brother ran inside after playing in the rain. Be careful, she told him. The floor is wet. She smiled. She had used another new English word in real life. After a few weeks, Lily noticed a big change. She was thinking more in English. When she wanted to say something, the words came faster. She felt more confident. One evening, she sat by the window again. But this time, she wasn't just watching the world outside. She was speaking about it. The sky is blue. The trees are moving in the wind. The children are playing. She laughed. I can do this, she thought. Lily had always believed she needed a classroom or a teacher to practice English. But she had created an English world right inside her home. And this was just the beginning. Lily's world had changed. It had been a few weeks since she started surrounding herself with English at home. She was reading labels, watching TV shows, listening to music, and thinking in English more than before. But there was still something missing. She still wasn't speaking much. Even though she understood more words, her mouth didn't move fast enough to say them. Every time she tried, she hesitated. The words felt stuck. One evening, as she brushed her hair in front of the mirror, she thought about how much she had improved. She was proud of herself. But then she asked herself, why am I still afraid to speak? She looked at her reflection and whispered, I want to speak English. Then she stopped. Something about saying those words out loud felt different. It was just her, standing in front of the mirror, with no one to judge her. She took a deep breath. I will practice speaking. I can do this. And that's how it started. The next morning, Lily woke up and stretched. Instead of just thinking about her day, she decided to say it out loud. I am waking up now, she said softly. It is morning. The sun is shining. She felt strange talking to herself, but she kept going. When she brushed her teeth, she said, I am brushing my teeth. The water is cold. When she made breakfast, she spoke each step. I am making toast. I am putting butter on the bread. It was a little awkward, but she noticed something. The more she spoke, the easier it felt. At first, she only used short sentences. But as the days passed, she started making them longer. Instead of I am drinking water, she said, I am drinking a glass of water because I am thirsty. Instead of the weather is nice, she said, the weather is nice today, and I feel happy because the sun is out. She realized that the more she talked, the more confident she felt. One afternoon, Lily sat in her room and thought of a new idea. She would start asking herself questions. What is my favorite color? She asked out loud. She paused, then answered, my favorite color is blue because it looks like the sky. She smiled. It felt like having a small conversation with herself. She continued. What do I like to eat? She asked. I like to eat pasta because it is delicious. She kept going, asking herself random questions. Where do I want to travel? What do I like to do for fun? What is my favorite book? Each time, she answered out loud. The more she did this, the faster she spoke. She wasn't just practicing words. She was training her brain to think in English. Lily's biggest challenge was her shyness. She felt nervous about speaking English with other people. But one night, she found a way to fix that. She stood in front of the mirror and looked at herself. At first, she just smiled. Then, she took a deep breath and said, Hello, my name is Lily. She watched her own face as she spoke. At first, she felt silly. Why am I talking to myself? She thought. But then, she noticed something. She saw her mouth move. She saw how her lips formed the words. She tried again. Hello, my name is Lily. I'm learning English, and I love it. She laughed. This is fun, she thought. She decided to pretend she was talking to a friend. Hey, how are you today? she asked her reflection. Then she answered, "I'm good. How about you?" She kept going, acting out a real conversation. The more she did it, the more comfortable she felt. The nervous feeling started to disappear. After a few days, she realized something amazing. When she spoke in the mirror, her voice was louder and clearer. She was no longer afraid of hearing herself speak. Now that Lily was used to talking to herself, she decided to take it one step further. Every night before going to bed, she would talk about her day. She sat on her bed, looked around her room, and began. Today was a good day. I woke up early and ate breakfast. I watched an English movie and learned some new words. Then I went for a walk outside. The weather was nice, and I saw some birds in the trees. She paused and smiled. I also listened to a song in English and tried to sing along. It was fun. Now, I am feeling sleepy, and I'm going to bed soon. Lily did this every night. At first, she had to think a lot before speaking. But after a few weeks, she noticed that she could talk faster. She didn't need to translate in her head anymore. Speaking English started to feel natural. One day, Lily's mother called her from the kitchen. "Lily, can you help me with some things?" Lily ran downstairs. Her mother was holding a shopping list. "Can you tell me what we need to buy?" she asked. Lily looked at the list. She had been practicing English so much that without thinking, she read it out loud in English. "Milk, eggs, bread, and sugar." Her mother smiled. "You said that so easily." Lily paused. She realized her mother was right. She hadn't hesitated. She hadn't felt nervous. The words had just come out. She ran back to her room and looked at herself in the mirror. "I am improving," she whispered. She thought about the first time she had spoken to her reflection. She had been nervous and shy. But now, she felt strong and confident. She had always thought confidence came from being perfect. But now, she knew the truth. Confidence came from practice. And she was ready to keep going. Lily had come a long way. She was no longer afraid to speak. She had spent weeks talking to herself, practicing in front of the mirror, and narrating her day in English. Her confidence had grown, and she felt proud of her progress. But something was still missing. She wanted to make English a natural part of her life, not just something she practiced, but something she enjoyed. One evening, as she sat on her bed, she thought, "How can I make learning English more fun?" Then, an idea came to her. I should start using English in my daily activities. And so, her new journey began. The next morning, Lily's mother asked her to help with cleaning. Lily usually found chores boring, but today, she had a new plan. She decided to turn them into an English learning game. First, she grabbed a cloth and started dusting the shelves. As she wiped each one, she named the objects in English. Books, clock, picture frame. Then, she challenged herself. "Can I describe them?" She pointed to the clock. "This is a round clock. It is black and white, and it has numbers on it." She moved to the kitchen and began washing the dishes. She described each step out loud. "I am washing a plate. The water is warm. Now, I am scrubbing the cup." It felt fun, like she was playing a game. When she finished, she smiled. "I just practiced English while doing chores." From that day, she made this a habit. Whether she was folding clothes, sweeping the floor, or cooking with her mother, she talked about it in English. And the best part? It never felt like studying. A few days later, Lily's mother took her to the grocery store. Lily decided to use this trip as another way to practice English. She walked down the aisles, reading the labels on food packages. Cereal, pasta, cookies, rice, she whispered to herself. Then, she played a game. She tried to describe each item in English. She picked up an apple. "This is a red apple. It is round and shiny." She picked up a loaf of bread. "This is soft bread. It is inside a plastic bag." Her mother noticed her talking to herself. "Lily, what are you doing?" she asked with a smile. "I'm practicing English," Lily said. Her mother laughed. "That's a great idea. At the checkout counter, Lily wanted to challenge herself even more. She took a deep breath and said to the cashier, "Hello, how are you?" The cashier smiled and replied, "I'm good. How about you?" Lily's heart raced. She had just started a conversation in English. "I'm good too," she answered. It was a small moment, but it made her feel so happy. She realized that she could practice English anywhere, even in a grocery store. One evening, Lily sat at her desk, thinking about what to do the next day. She usually wrote her to-do lists in her native language. But then, she had an idea. What if I write my lists in English? She grabbed a notebook and wrote, "Wake up at 7 a.m., eat breakfast, read a book in English, watch an English video, go for a walk, practice speaking in the mirror." It felt different seeing her plans in English. The next morning, she looked at her list and followed it step by step. She loved this new habit, so she started using English for everything: grocery lists, reminders, even short journal entries. At night, she wrote about her day. "Today was a great day. I helped my mom cook dinner. We made chicken and rice. It was delicious. After that, I watched a funny English video and learned a new word. Hilarious. I had so much fun." Writing helped her remember new words and express her thoughts more easily. She was not just learning English anymore. She was living in English. One afternoon, Lily was cleaning her room when she heard a song playing from her brother's phone. It was an English song. She listened to the words carefully. She could understand some, but not all. She quickly grabbed her own phone, searched for the lyrics, and read them as the song played. Then, she had an idea. I should sing along. She played the song again, this time trying to sing with it. At first, she stumbled on some words, but she didn't stop. By the fifth time, she could sing most of the lyrics. She realized something important. Songs helped her learn pronunciation. From that day, she made it a habit. She created a playlist of English songs and listened to them while doing daily activities. She even started dancing while singing, laughing at herself when she made mistakes. Learning English had never been this fun. Lily had always enjoyed watching TV, but now she saw it as a way to improve her English. Instead of just watching for fun, she set small goals. First, she watched a short episode with English subtitles. She listened to how the characters spoke and repeated some of their sentences. Then, she challenged herself. The next time, she watched the same episode but turned off the subtitles. She was surprised. She understood more than she expected. After a few weeks of this habit, she noticed a big change. Her listening skills improved, and she could recognize more words in daily conversations. English was becoming a natural part of her life. One evening, Lily sat on her bed, thinking about how much had changed. A few months ago, she had been too afraid to speak English. She thought learning was difficult and boring. But now, she saw things differently. English was everywhere. She could learn it while cooking, shopping, writing lists, singing, and watching TV. She didn't have to sit with a textbook all day. Learning English was not about memorizing rules. It was about making it part of her daily life. She smiled. She was not just practicing English anymore. She was living it, and she was excited to see how much more she could grow. Lily had come so far. She had surrounded herself with English at home, talked to herself to build confidence, and made English a natural part of her daily activities. She was no longer afraid to use English in small ways. But she knew something was still missing. She had been practicing alone for months, but she had never had a real conversation with someone who spoke English fluently. She needed to practice with a real person. But how? One evening, Lily sat at her desk, thinking, I know so many words now. I can speak English to myself. But what will happen when I talk to someone else? She felt nervous just thinking about it. What if I make mistakes? What if they don't understand me? She shook her head. No, I have to try. I didn't come this far just to stop now. She opened her laptop and searched how to find an English speaking partner online. There were many websites and apps where people from different countries could talk and practice languages together. She clicked on one and created an account. But then she hesitated. What if no one wants to talk to me? Her hands felt sweaty. Her heart pounded. Then she remembered something her mother always told her. The only way to learn is to try. Taking a deep breath, she typed a short message in English. Hi, I'm learning English and looking for a speaking partner. Would you like to practice with me? She pressed send and waited. Minutes passed, then an hour. No one replied. Lily felt discouraged. Maybe this was a bad idea. But just as she was about to close her laptop, a message popped up. Hi, Lily. My name is Ava. I'm from Canada. I would love to practice with you. Lily's heart raced. Someone actually wanted to talk to her. She quickly replied. Hi, Ava. Nice to meet you. Ava asked, How long have you been learning English? Lily smiled. I have been learning for many years, but I just started practicing speaking. Ava responded kindly. That's great. We can help each other. Let's do a voice call. Lily's smile faded. A voice call? She hadn't expected this. She stared at her screen. Her fingers trembled over the keyboard. Could she really do this? She took a deep breath. Yes, she typed. The phone rang. Lily swallowed hard and answered. Hello, she said. Hi, Lily. Ava's voice was cheerful. How are you? Lily froze. Her mind went blank. She had practiced English every day. She had talked to herself for months. But now, in a real conversation, she didn't know what to say. I'm fine, she finally said. Ava was patient. That's great. So, tell me, what did you do today? Lily took a deep breath. This was just like when she talked to herself. She could do this. I woke up and ate breakfast. Then I, cleaned my room and listened to English music. Her words were slow. She made mistakes. But Ava didn't laugh. She didn't judge her. Instead, she said, That sounds like a fun day. What songs did you listen to? Lily felt relieved. Ava was kind. She didn't care about Lily's mistakes. So Lily kept going. Little by little, the words came more easily. By the end of the call, she felt proud of herself. She had just had her first real English conversation. After that first call, Lily and Ava decided to practice together 3 times a week. At first, their conversations were simple. They talked about food, movies, and their daily lives. But over time, Lily started speaking more naturally. She learned new words from Ava. And the best part? She wasn't scared anymore. She even started enjoying their calls. One day, after they finished talking, Lily looked in the mirror and smiled. I did it, she whispered. She had found a way to practice English with a real person. And it wasn't as scary as she had thought. It was actually fun. Lily had come so far on her journey. She had started by surrounding herself with English at home. Then she learned to talk to herself to build confidence. She made English a natural part of her daily activities. And finally, she found an online friend to practice speaking with. But now, she faced the most important challenge, turning English into a habit, something she would do every day without even thinking about it. She knew that if she wanted to truly speak English fluently, she had to make it a part of her life, just like eating, sleeping, and brushing her teeth. But how could she do that? Lily sat down with a notebook and wrote, How can I practice English every day? She didn't want English to feel like homework. She wanted it to be fun and natural, something she actually enjoyed. So she made a list. Listen to an English podcast while getting ready. Afternoon practice. Talk to herself for 5 minutes about her day. Evening learning. Watch an episode of an English TV show or talk to Ava. Nighttime reflection. Write a short journal entry in English. This is not too much, she thought. I can do this. She stuck the list on her wall, right above her desk, as a daily reminder. And then she began. At first, it felt like she was forcing herself. Some mornings, she was too sleepy to listen to a podcast. Some afternoons, She didn't feel like talking to herself, but she kept going. One day, she woke up and reached for her phone. Without even thinking, she opened a podcast in English. It had become a habit. Another day, she was walking home and found herself thinking in English without trying. And when she spoke with Ava, she didn't need to pause and translate words in her head. The sentences came naturally. Something had changed. English was no longer a subject she was learning. It had become a part of her daily life. One evening, Lily and her mother went to a café. They sat down, and a waiter walked over. "Hi there. What can I get for you?" he asked in English. Lily's mother looked nervous. She nudged Lily and whispered, "Can you order for us?" Lily's heart skipped a beat. She had never ordered food in English before, but instead of feeling scared, she felt excited. She looked at the waiter and said confidently, "Can I have a cappuccino? And my mom will have a green tea?" The waiter nodded. "Sure. Do you want anything to eat?" Lily glanced at the menu. "Yes, we'll have a chocolate muffin, please." "Got it. I'll bring that right out." As the waiter walked away, Lily turned to her mother. Her mother was staring at her, eyes wide. "Lily, you just spoke English so naturally." Lily blinked. Had she really? She thought back to the conversation. She hadn't hesitated. She hadn't translated in her head. She had just spoken. A slow smile spread across her face. She had done it. She had become a confident English speaker. That night, as Lily lay in bed, she thought about everything she had done. She had once been afraid to even say a single word in English. Now, she was ordering food, making friends, and thinking in English without effort. She had made English a part of her life. And the best part? She knew that she would keep getting better. Because fluency is not about being perfect. It's about using English every day, little by little, until it becomes natural. She smiled. This was just the beginning, and she was ready for more.